What's up, YouTube? So the name of this video is going to be Homeless with a Job. First and foremost, I want to thank all of the subscribers. I'm almost hit 200 subscribers. That's really, really good. I'm excited. I can't wait till I get 1,000 so I can go live and talk to all of you guys. I plan on doing that a lot. I really enjoy being on YouTube, so if you can, smash that like button. Really does help the algorithm. Comments really help too. If you don't know what to say, just a smiley face, a thumbs up, a hi, that's really helps out the algorithm. And let's jump into the video. Homeless with a job. So I went ahead and did a little bit of research. I know my own experience, but the research I did was this nationally in America, between 40 and 60% of homeless actually do work. So one of the misinformations or a preconceived notion is that, wait a minute, if you're homeless, just get a job and you can find a place to live. Well, between 40 and 60% of homeless actually do have a full-time job. They do work. There's also other reports that I've talked about in other videos that something like 80% of Americans, don't even have $1,000 in their bank account. So that means that you guys are a lot closer to being homeless than you even realize. That means that if your kid gets sick and you have to take some time off work, that what if you get sick? What if you get hurt? What if you get a bad divorce? What if you get car problems? What if your house gets a tree falls on it? Yeah, some of this stuff can go ahead and life happens to us all, but some of that stuff may take a while. Let's say you got hurt at your job and workman's comp isn't going to kick in for 3 months, so they got to do an investigation. Or let's say you got to apply for Social Security or disability or something like that. Those things take time, and if you don't have money saved up, that means that you very well could be homeless. And with the price of housing, it's nothing really is affordable. I know right now gas prices are lowering a bit, but food prices are up higher. Finding affordable housing in neighborhoods that you will live in. That's one of the reasons why that I became homeless. Is I have some videos on it, but at the very end, I'm barely able to make rent into an apartment that is extremely dangerous. I've had my car windows busted out several times. In fact, if somebody would have bust my window one more time there, I wouldn't have been able to. I didn't have the money to replace it. Yeah, it's like a little bit over $200 for each window, and nothing's being stolen out of my car. They're looking for stuff to steal. In fact, I'll tell you, one time they busted my window and they could have easily grabbed some change out of my glove compartment that I had at the time. They didn't do it. My center console was popped open, and they're looking for stuff. Maybe they're looking for laptops. I have no idea. And then you think, well, you just call your insurance. Well, it's a $500 deductible, and then my rates are going to go up higher. I can replace the window less than $500, and I don't want my insurance going up. So those are some of the stuff that I think could help people that are a little bit misinformed. What I actually do for work is I do gig apps, so Instacart, and living in my car, I make it to the best of my abilities to look like I'm not homeless. I make it to the best of my abilities that if you look in my car, it's not a filthy mess. There's not a bunch of food and wrappers, and it does not, you don't see backpacks, you don't see my sleeping bags all propped up. I have them tucked into the back seat and tucked into my trunk, and then at that point, it looks like when I'm, if I'm doing Instacart or if I'm doing DoorDash or Uber Eats, that I just don't want that stuff to spill and ruin my seats. I also stay clean shaven. I also try to look very presentable. Nobody, in my experience, nobody wants to people want to help people that they can talk to. You know what I mean? And it is a little bit embarrassing to live in a car. My friends and my family all know about it. I do have some friends that they're like, if you're hard up for a shower, if you're hard up for a meal, I guess I could call them. I do my best not to. I don't want to impose. I have a Planet Fitness membership for $10. I take showers there. For brushing my teeth, I could actually brush my teeth in the parking lot of a place. I don't really brush my teeth or shave at Planet Fitness. I go to truck stops or rest areas where I do that, and I just blend in with the truckers. And I don't feel embarrassed. Like, you go into a truck stop, men's bathroom, there are people when they're shaving, brushing their teeth before like they're changing shift, or they it's $18 a shower at a truck stop. And I know that truckers get free showers if they fuel there at a certain, like, they get something. I believe when I used to drive trucks, it was something like if you got 70 gallons or more, you got a free shower. But not everybody wants to go ahead and do it. Maybe they only have time just to brush their teeth, and they gotta get down the road. So I try to blend in with that kind of stuff. There's a lot of saturation in the markets for gig apps. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart. There's several of them, but a lot of people that are that aren't homeless are doing this, and they're doing it part time just so that they can make ends meet. I do it, and it's probably not the best to live in my car and put these kind of miles and stuff on my car, but it's something better than nothing. And I try to use my vehicle as a tool that I live in, and a tool to make money. So when I'm doing that, I don't take the low paying stuff 90% of the time. The low paying stuff, if I see that it's an Instacart order and it's baby food or dog food or cat food, and it's not paying much, but I look at that, I'm like, okay, these people have a child. I understand. They probably could tip if they would tip if they could, but with baby food, it's important that their kid gets food, and I'll take orders like that. But if it's let's say a bunch of junk food or alcohol or whatever, and there's low paying, it's on top of it being low paying, being high mileage as well, then that doesn't work for me, And maybe for somebody who's doing a part-time that don't care about how many miles they put on their car, because they live in a house, they would grab that stuff, and that works out for them. For me, not so much. So some days I don't make very much money. Some days I do okay. And it's very important that I'm trying to do better than okay. I'm trying to thrive, not just survive. And I've came up with some side hustles that I do as well, that I've talked briefly on other videos. I do encourage you guys to check out my other videos. There's a big, long video of why I'm homeless. There's things about why I quit trucking. You hear whole stories. I even have a video about a traumatic childhood that it didn't get very many views, but it's a very good video that really opened up, and I believe it could really help a lot of people. I don't think it got very many views because it's very graphic on some of the stuff I talk about that happened in my childhood, but I'm really opening up myself, and I'm really putting myself out there because I want to help people, and I'm a very authentic and honest person. So one of the side hustles that I thought about, and that I do pretty regularly, is I'll go into Lowe's or Home Depot. I've tried it at Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight didn't work so well, but I go to Lowe's and Home Depot, and I'm gonna give you like the whole spiel of what I do. I walk in there, and if I see somebody trying to reach for something that's too heavy, or they can't reach it because they're not tall enough, I volunteer myself to help that person out. I just go, oh, you can't reach this gallon of paint, or this 5-gallon bucket of paint is too heavy for you. Here, let me give you a hand. I grab it and put it in their cart, and then I make small talk. I go, hey, what are you painting? Oh, okay, you're painting your bathroom. Oh, but and then they start talking, and they go, well, but I'm not going to be able to do my ceiling because let's say it's an older man, because this happens all the time. Older man, yeah, I don't really have anybody to hold the ladder, so I'm not going to be doing my ceiling. And then I would volunteer information. The information I would volunteer is when I'm hearing you and I'm establishing trust. Like, can I trust you? Are you somebody that I would be willing to help out for a little bit of money? And then also you're trusting me because I'm a total stranger. Like, I'm listening and I'm paying attention and I'm showing you respect. And I tell them, like, hey, I actually live in my car, and I do gig apps, and right now it's really slow. So when it's really slow, I actually go around and see if I do this kind of work from time to time. And they go, oh, really? And I go, yeah, you can actually afford me. Whatever you could pay, depending on how many hours. In fact, if you don't think I do a good job, you don't have to give me anything. And then I will say, hey, check this out. And I pull out my license, show them my license, but like, hey, I'm still a certified Class A truck driver. I don't truck drive anymore because it was very toxic, and I've had some bad things happen. However, I've been trusted with millions of dollars worth of freight, and I have a clean background, and you know, I'm a responsible person, you know. So I'll say something along those lines, and I try to show, you know, who I am, show, you know, use my use my Class A license to show them who I am, and to show that I actually am responsible enough, and that I've had my license for a few years, and that I'm good. And then you know, normally they'll say, well, okay, or they'll say, well, I'm not sure, and then I go, well, you probably won't get any you know, cheaper help than me, and I'm not making any money today because it's saturated. I would love to. And you know, 9 times out of 10 they say yeah, you know. They say yeah. You know, it could be where somebody's loading concrete outside. You know, they bought a bunch of bags of concrete and they don't have a truck, but what they do have is they have a Volvo station wagon, and that means that the Lowe's and Home Depot people aren't dropping a pallet in there. That means that somebody's got to go ahead and actually grab the 80-pound bags, or 100-pound bags, or 50-pound bags, or 60-pound bags. I know it comes in different variables. I think it's mostly 80 pounds though. You gotta grab these 80-pound bags and then, you know, bring them into the back of this Volvo, and literally, you know, daisy chain it, or actually grab one and go and do that. I see something like that, and I see somebody struggling. Hey man, can I give you a hand? And then, you know, I do the same spill, you know, like, hey, there's no problems. I tell them that I'm homeless, and that any money that I you know, I'm not asking for free money. I'm not begging somebody to give me something without working for it. I'm willing to go ahead and work for it, you know. I also don't beg here for donations, but I do have a Cash App, and anything and everything is appreciated. I've had one donation, and it came in clutch. I didn't have the money to buy my blood pressure medicine, and that money instantly came in, and I'm like, oh, now I can get my blood pressure medicine tomorrow. Awesome. And you know, shout out to you. I really appreciate that. But I don't beg. I actually normally say it at the end of the video, but I thought this was a perfect segue to bring it up. And I always have my my Cash App in my description, and it's the same as my YouTube name, AlienAscend. But that's another thing too, is if they didn't have cash on me, like, hey, well, I don't have any cash. Well, I have a Cash App. You could do it at the end of the job, or at the end of the day. And then sometimes I negotiate things where I'm like, hey, you know what, you know, can I take a shower here? Am I able to use your Wi-Fi? My phone has Wi-Fi, however, it takes a long time to upload a 30-minute or an hour-long video, and I like doing the longer content because it feels like I just like doing it. So, you know, use their Wi-Fi. And then, you know, sometimes they have that pin on their router where if you're a guest, you can do it. Sometimes they go ahead and you know, will say yeah, and let me log in. And I tell them, like, hey, you're not going to catch me outside your driveway using your Wi-Fi without your permission. I wouldn't do that, you know. And sometimes build friendships like that. Like I've done 2 videos at this particular house where I actually went ahead, and it was pretty sure it was at Lowe's, where I met this dude, and I met his wife. And they were doing drywall, and I've been able to get a little bit more work from them. Like, I did the drywall, and then I've helped them with this vinyl flooring and some tile stuff. And they're like, you know, hey, because they trust me and built like a friendship. They're like, hey, if you need to stop over here to use a shower from time to time, or you know, from time to time, if we have odd little things like, you know, clear out the garage. You know, go up in the attic and rearrange stuff. Go up here and clean some gutters, whatever it is. I'm like, yeah, you know, that's, you know, ongoing thing. Now, I know that a lot of people that that are homeless with jobs, you know, they you know, it's not always gig apps, and it's not always little side hustles like I'm doing. They would be you know, literally going and doing a 9 to 5 in an office. One of the reasons why I don't do that, or I'm not doing that right now, is I want the flexibility of and it's not just I want the flexibility, it's I kind of need it, right? And I'm gonna explain why. One second. Is it's wintertime, and where I sleep at most of the time is different truck stops and things like that. And sometimes there's really loud noises. Sometimes you're unable to go to sleep right away. Sometimes you're on guard too much, where you gotta look around, or you flat out get rough, like you get sick. Like I had a sore throat for 2 weeks, and I'm at the tail end of it right now. That's why you hear me clearing my throat and drinking some water. Are those things, and if you don't get very much sleep, going in and doing a 9 to 5, I guess the flexibility of, hey, I can turn my apps on anytime I want. Also, a lot of workplaces, they won't give you overtime. With my apps and stuff, I can literally, there's nothing really going on after 8, 9 o'clock at night. So I could literally, go from 8 in the morning all the way to 8 or 9 at night. And there's sometimes that I do. Now, just because I'm, running the app that long, that doesn't mean I'm getting deliveries every hour. Or I'm getting several deliveries, shooting at me. Sometimes it's very, very slow. It all depends on how many drivers, but the flexibility. If I decided, that, I didn't get enough sleep, so I can't do anything until afternoon. With a regular 9 to 5, you don't have that option. So if some people could go ahead and do things like that, me living in a car, back pain, I can't, I can stretch all the way out in my back seat and trunk. Drop the back seat, and I can do that. But there's still, even with my sleeping bags and the way that I put it on that line, like it still is like a dip, or sometimes it sticks up and it's in my back, and it does hurt. There's also some jobs that unfortunately, from driving so much and doing truck driving, I can't stand on my feet all day. Like, let's say, for example, I was told to stand here at a bakery and just do it. No, I need to sit down from time to time. So, doing work in somebody's house, sometimes you crouch down, sometimes you can sit. If you're doing painting, you can take a moment or two to sit down and, cut in the lines at the bottom, or you're putting in baseboards. You're basically already sitting on your butt on the ground, and you're putting in the baseboards, stuff like that. And then with app driving, it's not too physical where I'm standing on my feet crazy. There's a balance. If I go pick up at a restaurant, okay, now I park the car, I go inside there, or now after I do that, I can get in my car and drive to where they're going from, like where it's going to. And by doing that, it's a balance of me being able to sit down. I don't, standing up and, standing on my feet 10, 12 hours. No, it's a little bit too much for me. Same thing with like being a ditch digger. I know that I'm healthy and I'm pretty good at stuff, but can I do 10 hours of digging a ditch in a day? Yeah. Can I do it the next day? Probably not. So those are some of the things I like. The flexibility. I like that it's I'm kind of my own boss with the apps. I turn it on. I don't get forced on what, taking bad deliveries. I can take good ones. I can take mediums, and I can take low ones if it feels right. Like the miles aren't too bad. It's not very much money, but I know that these people really need it, and they really need it, and it's a necessity. Dog food, cat food, and baby food, or let's say that there's a shop order for Instagram, and they need diapers and they need personal stuff. I can go ahead and be like, what, I know that I'm doing something good here. You know what I mean? And now a lot of drivers aren't like that. A lot of the drivers, they believe in no tip, no trip. They with DoorDash, they'll eat toppings to your pizza. I've seen videos on it. I don't ever do anything like that. If I accept an order, that means that I accept the responsibility, and I'm going to treat everything better than I would for myself. And that means that your soda's not going to get spilled. Your food is not going to be touched. There is nothing that's going to contaminate it. That's another thing. The other thing too, living in my car like this, I'm constantly, wiping everything down before and after each order. I don't want my car to smell like that. I don't want my car smelling like a fast food joint. And then also, I want to keep everything clean for myself, and I also don't want anything, contaminating their stuff. So that's one of the things. So having the flexibility. A good half of the people that are homeless, they don't have bad habits. The ones that do really make a bad name for them. Like, in my market, and where it's funny calling it my market, but where I'm at and things like that, if you were to hold a sign, it paints a bigger target. So if you were out there holding a sign saying, need help, it paints a target on you. One, the people that actually run up on people and rob them and stuff, those are the ones. Like the first thing that anybody notices in areas is when somebody's doing that and they've never seen them before. Even if they have seen them before, it shows that that maybe in, like, let's say for example you were in Las Vegas doing something like that, maybe it's more acceptable and maybe it's less of a target, and let's say it's more lucrative. Out here, nobody's going to give you anything. If they do, it's going to be very little to nothing. You will get not only are the people not generous out here, they will say some very nasty things. Some of them will throw stuff out of their car at you, spit at you, and quite frankly, I don't have the temperament. One, I'm able to work, so I don't beg, but they go through a lot of abuse for a little bit of money. Verbal abuse, sometimes physical, but then on top of that, what happens is the real bad people. The people that will be like, they don't care that you only maybe made a few bucks that day. Let's say you only made $5 or $10. To them, you stood out there all day. They didn't have to, but they can go ahead and get that money from you, and they'll run up on you. And it's not like, it's sometimes it's where they will, I imagine, they try to finesse you, but most of the time out here, unfortunately, it's violence, and it's more than one person, and they'll take that, they'll take whatever money you have. I've seen it a lot of times, and they'll do it like that, and it's more than one person. Normally it's about 2 or 3, but at least 2 of them, and it's crazy. It's not just 2 guys. It could be a guy and a girl, and that guy and that girl are most of the time, I would say that they're like crackhead types, and they're using a weapon. They're 2x4 metal rod. They just hit you upside your head, and at that point they take everything. They'll take your socks, they'll take your shoes, they'll do whatever. So that's the last thing I would do out here is beg. But a lot of people work. In fact, there's other vehicles that they slept at the truck stop that I sleep at, and I could hear them getting up around the same time as me. And sometimes they have it's them and their wife, and they'll be like, "Where's my phone at? I need to go to work." And in fact, some of these people will take the car to go ahead and go to work, and their significant other have to wait around the rest area or the truck stop until they get back. I live in my car by myself. I don't think I could live in my car with somebody else. But if I did have somebody, I would never let them be just homeless. Like if I had an old lady, I wouldn't be, and we were both homeless, I would share everything I had. But thankfully, I guess one of the fortunate parts is no, I'm only responsible for myself. I don't have any kids. Never been married. Totally single. Not even looking. I need to fix my situations and everything else. And I've been alone for a long time, and I guess I'm kind of used to it. But yeah, there's a lot of homeless people that do work. Excuse me. There's a lot of people that are homeless at work. Like I said, 40 to 60%. There's just different degrees of poverty, and when people think that when they think they think like all we need to do is get a job and we're okay. No, a lot of us had jobs, and our jobs is what caused us. You live in paycheck to paycheck, and if something happens that week, you get a little bad luck, you're basically screwed. And a lot of people go, well, you got friends and family, they'll let you stay there. You might think friends and family are able to help you, or they've offered you in the past. Wait till you're in that position and see if they actually will. You're not their responsibility. They don't have an obligation to you. It's great if they did help out, but more often than not, you think that everybody's willing to help until you think that because when you were in a position to help people, you help people all the time, and once you find yourself in a bad position, you actually really find out who you really can rely and trust on that stuff. I don't have any place to go. And then people say, you know, hey, go ahead and, you know, rent a room for $300 or $400 or $500 a month. I can't even save that, and I'm not even paying rent right now. I'm backed. I'm backed up. I'm in debt. You know, I'm not gonna get into my finances stuff, but no, I'm not. I'm not even able to save any money. So, can I go rent a room and not be homeless? No, I don't have the money for it. And quite frankly, if I did have the money for it, I'd rather save it than stay in a very bad area, and basically burn the little bit of money I had. You know, there's a lot of things that I miss about living in a house. You know, using a bathroom and having privacy. You know, I miss cooking. I really like to cook a lot, and I like to eat healthy. You know, those are some of the things. You know, I living out here on the streets. Yeah, I don't get enough protein. You know, you're supposed to have 1 gram of protein per body weight. Man, I'm lucky. I'm lucky to get maybe 50 grams of protein. I live off of raviolis, top ramen. You know, different canned foods. I do eat bananas a lot. They're you know, they don't cost a lot, and they're a great snack. You know, but I think I'm getting a little bit sidetracked right now. But yeah. I think that's about it. I've already mentioned it once. If you guys want to hit my Cash App and bless me and show me some love, I would appreciate it. I do ask that you check out my other videos. I do ask that you you know, hit the like button, drop a comment, and please subscribe if you like the content. Thank you so much.